You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
The Kibbe and Friends Show.
What it is, bro?
Featuring Rob Kibbe.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Justin Corndog Cornett.
New guy's in the corner puking his guts out.
And show producer Bernie McPartland.
This is the DJ 3000, and it has 3 distinct varieties of inane chatter.
Talking cars.
Do you feel this vehicle is safe for highway travel?
Yes, I do.
Diving deep on the topics that matter most.
Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this.
And totally redeem yourself!
And the Dukes of Hazzard. Available in iTunes, Stitcher, and whatever else it is you listen on.
Turn up the volume.
The Kibbe and Friends Show.
Kibbe and Friends Show, episode number 110, available in iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, iHeartRadio, which I just heard on the way here on my iHeart station, a podcast going out over the airwaves on the radio. Also in Instagram, YouTube's, Patreon. Like to thank Garrett Daniels, our newest Patreon supporter, Austin Chestnut, Greg Bliss.
The NASCAR driver?
Yes, I think it's him. Well, I don't know. I'll double check his email address. We've had an upswing month here in Patreon, and it's not that we were on a huge downswing, but it's nice to see the needle going the right direction. So thank you all for that. We'll have some fun extras in Patreon this month. As always, I think people are liking the early access to fun stuff, so we will be doing that as more. The Catherine Bach episode is going to be over the top.
Yep.
Because in my mind, she's 25. Yeah. So everybody, welcome to the show. I'm Rob Kibbe, Justin Corndog Cornett, producer Bernie McPartland. We are here for a regular format show. Or are we? We're going to do things in opposite order. So we do have a Dukes of Hazzard review. We haven't done one in quite a while, but we're going to do that here in a little bit after the news segment. And then we're going to bring Nathan Warren from Warren Customs on. You guys remember Nathan, right? My car's at his shop being totally renovated into my dream of dreams. We're up to speed on this, right? Nobody remembers?
The thorn in his side?
Yes. He thought, I'll just do this like 2-week job. No problem. And 5 months later,
right in, right out.
We're right about done. So I thought Nathan would come on. I don't know that he's been on the show. He's been on Muscle Car Place a few times, but I don't know that he's been here. So I thought that would be fun. And we also have a new sponsor today, a no fooling sponsor that Corndog is going to blow your mind, blow your fiscally sound walleted mind. Stamps.com is here. They've come back. This is not a bit. I'm not setting this up. This is legit. This actually happened. So we are going to talk about that. So let's go ahead and get right to it, beginning with Bernie on the news. Bernie, do you have some news segment information for us? What's happening in the world today, Bernie?
Well, we do have a lot going on in the world. Not much of it applies to what we do here, but we have some fun things to go over. This doesn't really apply to cars so much, but it does have to do with wheels and trucks and other fun things like that. So I thought it was appropriate to put in. Well, if you or a family member works at Amazon, you know what? They want you out. Amazon wants you out of their company. Well, actually, they want you to go out and chase your dream of starting your own delivery service company. Now, we do a lot of talking about starting a dream and chasing a dream and starting your own company, and we have resources on that. But here's what they're doing at Amazon to get you out the door to start your own delivery business. They'll give you $10,000 in cash, 3 months of your Amazon pay if you work for Amazon, of course, and your own delivery truck. Oh, that's the motivation to get you out the door and active in our global economy. Of course, your number one client is going to be the mothership Amazon, who will, with your help, dominate the home delivery market like never before. But wait, not so fast, says the ghost of Sam Walton. Walmart is stepping up its game to deliver faster than ever. In fact, next day delivery is something they're rolling out, and they're already active in Las Vegas. They're already active in Phoenix, and more cities to be added soon after they evaluate and get their infrastructure in place a little better. It brings to mind that song and that sentence. What is it? I want it all, and I want it now.
That is crazy.
Isn't it?
The Amazon deal. So do you not work for Amazon anymore? You're going independent? Is that what it is?
You're going independent of Amazon, but they're giving you all the seed money to start your own business and the truck with, of course, the Amazon. I think it's got an Amazon label on it. Could be wrong, but they're the number one contractor. They're hiring you immediately to work for them to deliver. So the ultimate goal is to get to 2-day delivery and then ultimately to 1-day delivery, which Walmart is already trying to do.
Wow. It's all getting to the point where it's just on demand. I saw Uber is getting into the LTL freight market. Amazon already was, and that's over-the-road truck. Actually, our man Dan Atkinson, I believe, does... Well, I'll have to ask him if he does any LTL, but he will be on our Patreon show for June. He does a lot of over-the-road truck, and yeah, when you're independent, you can pick things up, but geez, it's getting to the point where you can just think about wanting something, and it can be there. Have you guys done Uber Eats?
I don't do any of the Uber or any of the fast food delivery or anything like that.
We tried Uber Eats in Kansas City a couple months ago. That is legit. We probably had 15 people, 2 families. Like, we went on Uber Eats, ordered up some local Kansas City barbecue. It was there in 8 minutes. Wow. Piping hot and awesome.
Wow.
And just some dude showed up in a Chevy Volt like, hey, did you get barbecue? Like, yeah. And here you go.
How is that different than like the Waiter app? Because I know there's a few different ones.
I don't know. I know that it was pretty seamless, though.
Now, was it a full order that you got of barbecue, or was it like 5 ribs and a bone?
We got a lot. Like, the order itself was $100. I mean, we were feeding everybody there, and nobody was hungry when we were done.
So we didn't have a rib for a tip.
He did not have a rib tip. No.
That was the comedy portion.
I got it.
Finally. Yeah, keep up. Okay, well, as Iowans, you, Rob especially, are happily watching the last of the melting snow go down the street drain. It's time once again for ice cream, fellas. And Rob, your favorite flavor?
Oh, you're asking it. Strawberry. I thought you were about to tell me what it was. You had a very parental tone. Strawberry.
Corndog, your favorite flavor is what?
Mine's probably going to be something from like Dairy Queen or Sonic or something, and it's going to be like an Oreo or a Reese's flavored.
More like a Blizzard type thing?
Yeah, Blizzard, Blast.
Mm-hmm. Nothing wrong with that. All good choices. Well, we can all feel better, though, about our ice cream choices because now a new tub could be hitting the market very soon, and it's packed with flavor, it's packed with protein, and it's packed with minerals.
Yes, those are maggots, and yes, that is ice cream. But at least it's good for the environment. Leah Besser from South Africa's Gourmet Grub.
So the insects we're using are really, really great because they're recycling what would typically be given to pig food or to waste. We're using them on a grain byproduct. So they have that potential to sort of reduce what would be considered a waste stream and convert it into a high quality protein and fat.
Leah mixes up the maggot juice. Then they add in ingredients like cocoa and honey before they pop the lava into the ice cream making machine and whisk it all together.
It tastes organic, basically like how you'd expect like a vegan ice cream maybe to taste.
A little bit more earthy, a bit more organic taste. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. It tastes like ice cream to me.
Soon you could be eating maggot ice cream with a clear conscience, knowing that you are helping save the planet. Just don't think about it too much.
So, fellas, would you accept the earthy taste of ice cream?
No. I would just do without ice cream altogether before I ate maggots.
Is this a protein thing? Like, there's a lady at the farmer's market here who, it's either grasshoppers or crickets or some hopping bug that she grows to harvest and grinds up, and that's like the coolest protein powder ever it's supposed to be. Is this like that? Or is this just to gross you out?
No, I think it's a real thing. Here at the county fairs, I'm sure it's there that you can buy the scorpion lollipops. They've had those for a long time, and ants and stuff, so it's by no means new. I just never heard of putting it in ice cream before. I think probably you could substitute what they're using for other bugness and probably get protein out of it, but just for your consideration.
Mint chocolate chip. That would be my second favorite.
Yeah. With maggots or without?
I'm not a fan of maggots. Last summer, our commercial contracting company took a dumbest contract we've ever taken from a local grain bin, like a storage co-op area. They had a whole solar system of maggots growing on the floor in between two areas that they wanted our company to clean and treat for them.
Solar system.
And we did it. And
you went in there with a blowtorch.
We charged them a premium.
I hope so.
So
very nice.
I hope that ice cream maggot stuff is pretty cheap. Oh, what country was that from?
That's over the pond. We'll leave it at that.
Come on, guys.
It sounded like that.
Got any more?
And finally, the fenced backlots of Sondershausen, Germany may seem an unlikely place for a home of rabid gang violence, but Cornelius grew up here. At 18, Cornelius leads a troop of 22, and he's already been on top of the game for a while. He's also showing the wear and tear. It's the opening that the others in the clan might hope for. A way, perhaps, to seize the power that they've witnessed and, yes, helped Cornelius to obtain and, in fact, keep that power. The story goes, 6 years ago, Cornelius led an attack on a rival gang that ended up with some of the members being physically thrown, not out in the street, but over a substantially high fence wall. Now, that was then, and there have been fewer and smaller victories since then. Jonas is the one with the stare who plots with the others who will listen. Jonas has made advances on the boss's girlfriends. Yes, plural. It's that way in this bunch. The advances have been accepted by some. More each day, in fact. Feeling Cornelius is too old to cut the mustard anymore. His physical appearance isn't what it was. Even at 18, from the hard life, he now has thinning skin, teeth missing, and more signs of a much older male. The troop, in fact, has had to help him on occasion back to his room from the weakness. And after the help came the plot.
Look, guys, how much longer are we going to put up with this? The signs are clear. He can't keep up. His time is up. Jonas is ready to take the lead. He has won the respect of all of us, especially the harem of Cornelius.
Let's do this thing, were the words from the pack. The next day, Cornelius was no more. The endangered Barbary macaw monkey had been beaten by his former followers and left for dead. The reasons are all told, but the main one was that he could no longer satisfy the females anymore, and the law of the troop is, if you can no longer populate, you are doomed. Sad tidings for all those caretakers at the Affenwelt Monkey World in Sondershausen, Germany. Rest in peace, Cornelius.
That was awesome.
What? Where did you find that?
I have sources.
That's a pull, dude. I mean, it's interesting. I did think like halfway through, I wonder if this is like a monkey thing.
I was waiting for the hook.
The hook is that he's not a human. He's humping away, and then finally got the boot. Literally.
Gangs are bad, boys and girls. Gangs are bad. They will turn on you in a moment.
Yeah, don't smoke.
Yeah.
Don't smoke.
Yeah. That's it for the news.
Great segment, Bern. We had some iTunes podcast reviews. I don't know if they'll stay the same. Joe1607 says, I wait every week for the new show. My only complaint is they are over so fast. Well, Joe, that one took a while. And you know what? I'm going to put Bernie's home number in here. You call him. He's got hundreds of those. Hundreds. And they're always fresh and they're always well scripted.
I finished the Muscle Car Place edit this afternoon and posted that. That's a nice, juicy 80 minutes, if you'd like to feast on that. Mm-hmm.
Very good.
So we're working on it.
I enjoyed that very much. Let's go ahead and do the Dukes of Hazzard review. We'll sandwich that in here, and then I've got Nathan on standby. He's ready as soon as we are. So I need to scroll way down in my notes, because this usually comes at the end.
Just a good old boy, never meaning no harm.
The Dukes of Hazzard review. This is Season 4, Episode 16. The episode is titled Shine on Hazzard Moon, written by Bruce Howard, directed by Paul Baxley. So I'm sensing like a crap ton of stunts coming. Or are there? Remember what Jack Gill said? Right? Original air date, January 15th, 1982. I had no Amazon here, so I was back to the DVDs to watch this.
Me too.
I'm going to read you guys 2 summaries of this. One's from the DVD set, and one is from IMDb. So the DVD, and they're slightly different. Let's see which one we like better. The DVD summary says, Boss Hogg has a big moonshine deal cooking, and he makes a big deal of framing Bo and Luke for theft to get Jesse to part with his prized moonshine recipe. So, not wrong. Totally not wrong, but here's what IMDb says. A determined Boss Hogg, desperately wanting Uncle Jesse's moonshine recipe, makes a demand. Give over the recipe or have Bo and Luke charged with felony theft and the disappearance of funds from the Hazzard County orphanage. What do you guys think? But which one's better, DVD or IMDb? Neither one is wrong. One's more descriptive.
I think the DVD is a little bit closer to the truth.
I'll vote IMDb because it's more dramatic.
Yeah.
I like them both. I did not see this episode. I got the gist of it. I saw it like 2 months ago. So I have a few segments in here. But Corndog, I was really hoping you could just bring it home. Give me every charger, nook, cranny, go. I just can't wait. Let's have it.
There wasn't much to say.
Great summary. Pretty sure.
Yeah. I mean, do you want the storyline or what? I mean, it's basically just like you read. I mean, it was, Boss Hogg's moonshine is crap, and the guy wants Uncle Jesse's. And so anyways, they typical frame Bo and Luke into something that they didn't do, which was steal money from the orphanage. They go back and forth, and of course, end of the day, everything's back to the way it was. And there was not really a whole lot of stunts in this. I mean, there was a couple of jumps. Probably the best one was, the cop car and the General Lee jumping head on and just barely passing each other. So then right after that, the General Lee, it slides off to the side, and then Cletus is behind the General Lee, so he jumps. One thing I noticed about this was after the police car lands and then comes sliding up next to the General Lee, you can see the door on the General Lee is actually caved in from a previous stunt.
Like it got hit from the last camera angle shot. Yes.
As the police car approaches, they show the General Lee, and it has a perfect door on it. But from the rear view, as the police car slides up next to it, you could see the door is already caved in from a previous stunt. So that was really about the only thing I saw.
Well, I had a question for you on that particular stunt. So where they're doing the cross, is this the same location where in a different episode the 2 police cars hit head on and kind of split 90 degrees and both fell down in the ditch? Or is this a different location?
I didn't really look. I'd have to look and just kind of see how the scenery is in the background to be able to really tell. It could be the same spot and they just flip the camera around a different angle and it'll look like a totally different spot.
Now that you say that, I watched this 2 or 3 times, and the camera angle of the cop car coming over is so awesome because the camera is inside the General Lee, which is 90 degrees to the jump. So you're looking out the passenger window at them coming, and jeez mo, it's scary. Like, oh, holy crap, there's a flying car coming. And then in the next scene, when you see the General Lee sitting there with the door all caved in and the police car sliding up next to it, the last take they did, that didn't happen. The cop car smashed into it, probably. When you look at it sliding up, there's nobody in the General Lee at all. It's totally empty. They took the people out because that he got hit last time. He's going to get hit again. So that was a really awesome scene. But the police car jump, man, that's one of the best angles ever.
I meant to ask a couple of the stuntmen if they knew who it was who did the stunt. I didn't get a chance to, so I can't help you out on that, on who actually did it. But Jack Gill was, of course, still working with the Dukes at this time, so it was likely he could have been one of them. One of the other things I noticed, too, was when Luke is driving the General Lee and they come up to the boar's nest, the con man, what's his name, Rayford Flicker or whatever, he's actually in his car, laid down in the seat, and you don't see him, and the General Lee pulls up, and like I said, Tom Wopat's driving, and he slides it up right up to the front door at the boar's nest, and the quarter panel tags the con man's car.
Yeah.
They just jump out, and then
they look at it, right?
Yeah, John kind of glances at it or whatever, and then as they start walking into the boar's nest, then I think they mumble something about, Whalen comes in and says something, and then you can hear them mumble something about, we'll get Cooter to fix it or something like that. So that was just kind of ad-lib part, but I wish I could have seen the quarter panel after they tagged it.
The way that this episode starts out, in 30 seconds, you know what's going to happen. I did get Whalen's intro here, and then this is Uncle Jesse kind of laying out just a thing in his life that seems to be important right now. I'll see if I can play that here.
I know, Nathan. Yeah. I gave my word to the US of A federal government when they gave these boys probation that I'd never have nothing to do with running no shine or even making it no more.
And that's
building up the plot.
That's the problem, of course, because he will be forced to make shine. He finds a way to get himself out of it. He doesn't actually make moonshine. He makes what he calls like high-grade mouthwash. And everything is solved in the end. And I do have a few clips that we can stick in the end of this show, but I did pull some interesting facts. You want to hear an interesting fact about reefer flicker?
Sure.
Okay, good. Sound like you're going to say no, I'll pass. But here's what I looked up. This is all legit. The con artist that you mentioned there, Rayford Flicker, he was played by veteran actor Michael Keenan, who is still working. He was also on an episode of Cheers, and he made 4 appearances on 3 different Star Trek series. Star Trek The Next Generation, Star Trek Deep Space Nine, and Star Trek Voyager. Nobody cares about Star Trek Voyager or Star Trek Deep Space Nine. But Next Generation, fellas, is gospel. Now, here's a little further. I have been studying, no doubt, on YouTube this series on all the different models of the Enterprise used throughout the years. And the real ones, the actual physical models made for filming when they don't do CGI work. The Enterprise D in Star Trek The Next Generation was really difficult to work with because it was really top heavy. The saucer section in the series could separate and fly, so they built a model that way. And that is why when they filmed the Star Trek Generations movie, the first movie series to feature the Next Generation cast, that's why they destroyed the Enterprise D. Everybody tracking with me so far?
Oh, yeah.
Interestingly enough, also in Star Trek Generations, that's the crossover one with William Shatner, Captain Kirk himself. And he came back in Generations to play Captain Kirk one more time. And he dies in that movie. Did you know that the way he dies in the movie that you see on screen was the reshoot of the death scene because target audiences that they went out to for test showings didn't like the first version. The first version, he just got shot in the back. Here's where it gets even crazier. In the novels of this, Captain Kirk, after he is killed, is brought back to life to destroy Captain Picard. And this book is called The Return. I have read it. And here's where it gets even more crazy. This is right from The Return. The Borg have formed an alliance with the Romulan Star Empire in order to destroy the Federation of Planets. Not good. Using alien technology, the Borg bring Kirk back to life, and his Katra is restored. In this case, your Katra is your soul. Spock had a Katra. But false memories implanted into him turn him against the Federation. The goal of this secret alliance is to destroy Picard, and therefore Starfleet's only defense against the Borg, but... and this is why Kirk is better than Picard. Despite his conditioning, Kirk is able to resist commands to kill Worf, Data, and Geordi LaForge, all of whom were attacked by him during his search for Picard.
Take a breath.
Part of Rayford Flicker was played by actor Michael Keenan. That's where we started, and that's where we ended.
Star Trek is your Kevin Bacon. It's the 6 degrees of separation. Everything relates back to Star Trek for you.
I just thought you would like to know this. I thought we all would.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And Michael Keenan has another meaning in this episode that you didn't even know about.
What is it?
Michael Keenan, and this is for our friend Adam Medax Ward, that we know what Michael Keenan is. Michael Keenan is an Australian politician. He was a member of the House of Reps. Served from 2004 to 2019 when he retired. So there you are, localizing the Kibbe and Friends show to Australia with a familiar name, Michael Keenan. Not the same one, of course, but the same name, same spelling. That's close enough.
That's funsies.
Yeah.
Good news.
We'll just call it the same.
Okay. So I guess to put a bow on that one, what is our rating of this episode? You know, this is the big push bar era. Then the car is looking better, and I suppose it's harder to pull cars apart. You do now very much notice when they insert an earlier General Lee shot with the small push bar as kind of stock footage. It's pretty obvious. But Corndog,
also, it's still early enough on. You still catch cars with reverse lights.
Yeah.
They haven't shaved those off yet. So, it's still kind of the early part of it. I give it maybe a
come on,
6-ish. It's about a 6. It's just kind of, okay.
A 6.
The one thing that helped was that stunt, the 2-car stunt. That was the best part of the whole entire episode.
Yes. Bernie, your thoughts. What do you think?
What was the date of release again?
January 1982.
82. So not only do we have big push bars, but we have big hair in the 80s. So I'm going to give it a 7.5 because it's relevant to the times.
Okay. What was the big hair reference?
Well, it's the 80s. Everybody had big hair in the 80s. Almost all of us.
Makes perfect sense.
In the episode, was there large hair?
It was a big push bar, but they were hinting towards that.
Jeez.
Oh my gosh, keep up.
Man, I'm trying so hard. You're just laying them in there so well, clearly. They're just all getting past the goalie because I'm at the wrong skating rink. Skating rink, ice hockey rink. Okay, I'm going to give it a...
That's the problem. You're at the skating rink and not the ice hockey.
That's right. I was out figure skating and you guys were playing hockey. I am so gassed right now. My son's last soccer practice of the season was tonight, and they always have kids versus parents. I am fried. I can't even barely think right now. So 7 corn dogs from me. The episode was a 3. The stunt was another 4 on top of that. That is our summary.
And it wasn't a bad episode.
No,
it was just
good.
It was just simple.
It's good. I'm trying to think of the remaining episodes in season 4, if there's any other kind of like monumental episodes. Because when season 5 starts out, that's quite advanced. That's when things start going sideways. Bernie, would you like to introduce the audience to our brand new sponsor? And remember, audience, if you support the sponsors, they continue to support us. And I think we really, truly have a good one.
I would. It would be my honor. Guys, here's a word for you. And the word is unpleasant. Unpleasant is a word used to describe the things you'd rather have hired done or push off on the little sister, in fact. The word encapsulates the hatred of a task we try to avoid. Yes, is that true? Yes, it is. They include taking out the trash. They include a million other trivial things that take us away from the now. Junk mail. Don't even get me started. I know. So my mind is geared this way. Maybe yours is too. To be a solution in this world, guys. I get junk mail, and I want to know this. Do the letters that I send make people think that the postal system is not all it could be? Maybe. But there is a light that we can see through the envelope. Get it? There is a company who knows how bad a paper cut on the tongue can be, and they want to be a solution. It's Stamps.com. Our new sponsor, Stamps.com. Rob, what are your thoughts on Stamps.com?
This is their second foray on this show, and I have been, no fooling, this is not a bit, I have been a customer since they launched with us, and we have used the scale that came with our original Stamps.com deal, not only for measuring for postage, but measuring food. You can measure anything on it. It really works great. It's a scale. So I'm going to go through some interesting things for those of us who like to sell parts online. I'll get to that in a second here. Stamps.com brings all the amazing services of the U.S. Post Office right to your computer. Whether you're a small office sending invoices, an online seller shipping out products, and that's us, or even a warehouse sending thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle it with ease. Simply use your computer to print official U.S. postage 24/7 for any letter, any package, any class of mail, anywhere you want to send it. Once your mail is ready, just hand it to your mail carrier or drop it in a mailbox. It's that simple. This means you don't go inside the post office. That is what we're talking about, especially when you're sending packages. With Stamps.com, you get 5 cents off every first-class stamp and up to 40% off priority mail. So I am now jumping to the Stamps.com website FAQ section, and I'm specifically looking at the shipping and online selling section. All right, Corndog, you ship a lot of parts and you buy a lot of parts, right? You are an expert on shipping stuff. You shipped me something last week, as a matter of fact. Addressed to my car, which was very clever.
Oh, General Robert Lee.
Attention, General Robert Lee. What would you say to this? Now, how do you ship your parts? Do you do priority mail? Do you first class, like the
I use
$7.95 one? What do you do?
I use everything. I very rarely use like a flat rate box.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the body shop business, we've got boxes and boxes and boxes. So I get quite a few boxes from work, and I try to go the cheapest way.
Okay, speaking of the cheapest way, here are the discounts you can get. Up to 14% on all priority mail express shipments, up to 40% on priority mail, up to 28% on first class package service. This is all up our alley. Up to 5% on international. I have shipped international. Up to 40% on package insurance. And when you're shipping like nice stuff, like my taillights, I think were insured when they got shipped. Here's another one for you. Can I import orders from eBay, Amazon, and other data sources? And for a lot of us, we're talking about stuff that we have sold on eBay. Stamps.com can do that. They automatically import orders directly from your shopping cart and marketplace into eBay, Amazon, and Etsy. You can also import your orders from a CSV file, Microsoft Excel, XML, or a whole bunch of other stuff. It's super, super good. I'm a big fan of this. When I signed up, you're going to tell them about our deal, but I actually opted up for the bigger scale, which you can get there as well. So what's the deal everybody can get?
Right now, our listeners get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale without any long-term commitment. Just go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in KAFS. That's Stamps.com, enter KAFS.
Bernie, is it just me, or is he's in fuego at this one? We've done the call to action for other things, and this one, he smells the deal.
I'm passionate about this one because I know I've got a bunch of parts here in my shop that I need to sell. Look just right behind me. I've got stuff all day.
He's been waiting for an opportunity to use something like this. Things are stored up on his shelves that he just wants to mail to people just to see how easy and convenient it is to use Stamps.com. I suspect by the next program, those shelves behind you will be clear, Corndog.
And then he will fill them.
Maybe not.
With something else.
Yeah, because I will sell it and I will use the money to replenish my collection of stuff.
Well, that's fine. That's fine. No problem at all. With a company like Stamps.com, why wouldn't you even try? Why wouldn't you? Thanks, guys. We appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Everybody, please check them out, support them, enjoy, and welcome back. With all that said, I'm going to attempt to add another person to our call. Now, we had a glorious failure the last time we did this, so I sure hope he answers. So, okay, Nathan, add to call. And I'm just calling the Warren Customs hotline here, so I'll tell you the number. 205-546-9292.
This will be very eventful.
It looks like it's working.
Hello?
Nathan, you're there, right?
This is me.
Hello, Nathan. You got me, you got Corndog, and you got Bernie. We're all here.
Nathan.
Hey, gang, what's happening?
It's a Wednesday night. We're hot and sweaty and thinking of you. What are you up to?
I'm actually sitting here waiting on y'all and was watching some Days of Thunder.
Oh, the Top Gun of racing. Oh, man, I love it so much. What section are you in the movie?
Sitting in the bar, and he doesn't know anything about cars.
Because I don't know a lot about cars, all right?
Well, do we need to let you go so that you can get back to your movie?
No. Wait.
I paused it so I can always go back to it, I guess. I'll make the sacrifice for y'all.
I appreciate that. I don't think you've come on this show before. You've been on Muscle Car Place at least a couple of times. I talk to you so much, I feel like you've been on this show. But I thought it might be fun to come on and give people the update of where the car is right now. And also to share, I'm positive this is true, our first actual fail. Like, we tried something and it just didn't work. And we have to figure out how this works. I haven't told anybody about this. So where do you want to start?
Yeah. Well, I was hoping we wouldn't talk about that. You know?
Oh, well, but that's going to make good radio. So don't worry. It's not, we can throw some people under the bus. Want to?
I'm actually here at the shop looking at the car right now. All the interior is pretty much in. You've already told everybody about the heater box. That somebody was nice enough to take it out, take parts out, and put it back in without the parts. So we're waiting on those parts, and we'll yank the heater box back out and put it back together as it's supposed to be. Today, the factory trunk light and all the wiring to it came. Here the other day, the package from Corndog came, which was to the heater box. Still waiting on all of the mail order parts for the heater box to come in. Actually got to check on those probably tomorrow and see where they're at. And that leads us up to I always call it a filler panel. Corndog, what is the technical term for that panel there? The filler panel out there in front of the radiator.
Upper latch tray.
Upper latch tray. What we've done with the upper latch tray is we stripped it all the way down, and it had a little bit of, I guess, like spider web rust is what I've always been told, just a little bit growing in under it. And we sandblasted on that and put it under a polyester primer.
Well, the goal here on the Hero car, it's chrome. That's what you were after. You're going to replicate chrome.
It is. So anyhow, we prepped it, painted it black, called them, done exactly what they told us to do, read the instructions, looked on YouTube, the whole 9 yards, because I've never sprayed any of this stuff before.
What he's talking about is ALSA spray chrome. I'm sure you guys have seen this on you. This is the spray applied chrome. Usually you see it like spraying a motorcycle tank or a helmet, but looks like it should work. Looks like it should work.
Yeah, it's all in the technique, I believe. That's the only thing I can think of. They give you a little shape, like the shape of a car. So I done a test on it. I mean, it was just as soon as you sprayed it on there, chrome. Looked just like the bumper. Matched it up great. So I'm like, we're good to go. I know how to do this. We just spray it on here, and voila, instant chrome. And it didn't happen. It just
it's silver.
Nothing happened. You spray it on, and it's kind of an aluminum color, I guess, is kind of what you get. And then from there, it slowly starts to turn to chrome, a mirror-like finish. And the mirror-like finish never came. As of an hour ago, when I walked in there and looked at it, it still hadn't got here. So I've gave up. I'm going to say I've done something wrong. I don't necessarily know what, but we have an aluminum tray instead of a chrome tray.
So when the test panel that is referring to, we see them all the time at SEMA, especially in a paint booth or a paint manufacturer's area. They'll have these little three-dimensional shapes in all sorts of different colors. And they look like a like a Pinewood Derby
slot car.
Like a slot
car body.
And they'll be all different colors. And that's what they sent with the ALSA kit to spray as your test panel. He did that, and it worked. I don't remember if you said this, Nathan, but you lay down the first stuff, like the black goes down first, and doesn't it have to like cure for 2 days or something like that?
Yeah, different things. It was like 48 hours and 24 hours, and we waited 2 days after I sprayed that black on there. You know, it had to be dry. There was no way around it, and everything in it had worked out or gassed off, or all the solvents had worked out of it. So I don't know what I did wrong. So we're going to do the hinges next, and then the push bar. I got it sanded down today, smoothed out the welds, and had a little problem with my welder on it. If I hadn't had a problem with it, I wouldn't be having to smooth the welds out, because the ones on the backside were perfect. And then it started glitching or doing something, and the front side just didn't look to suit me. So I went back and filed them down and going to smooth those out. So we'll get some primer on it and hopefully get it sprayed in black before the end of the week. And maybe tomorrow get the hood yanked off and the hinges yanked off and start working on spraying the black in there.
It's going to look good. And when the ALSA finish didn't turn chrome, you were bummed out. I could hear that in your text messages. But it's because you're such a fan of this. I mean, if anything, the work you've been doing on the interior hit a record for us on Instagram as far as just people's interaction. Like, holy Christmas, look at this. It's brown. And you wouldn't think that that's such a big deal, but it's so hard. It took so much effort to get there. People, not just me, people are seeing this work. It looks pretty good. Overall, I mean, you got to be pretty proud. I mean, it looks awesome, and it's almost done.
Yeah, the interior looks great. I mean, it has turned out awesome. And then I didn't mention, too, we've got the power antenna in now.
Yeah.
All that's painted. It's bolted in and finished. So really the biggest holdup now is waiting on the parts for the heater box. And then once I get it rebuilt and put in, then we can completely put the radio, the CB, all of that stuff, and button it up, and the interior will be completely finished. So really, technically, all we like is under the hood and maybe a front end alignment, raise the front end up a little bit, and you're jumping ditches.
I look forward to that. So many things I'm looking forward to seeing, but one of the biggest is the seats. So you had your local upholstery guy do the seats. We brought all the materials, but he did them there. Did you say there was not a single broken spring? That was shocking to me because those seats sucked, man. Really bad. Every one of them.
Yeah, I asked him, well, what did you have to do to the seat? And he's like, I didn't do anything to the seat. What had happened is the burlap covering on the seat had wore through or wore out. Well, he said it was completely gone. It just rotted away. And then the cushion had actually wore through the spring. I mean, the springs had actually wore through the cushion, you know, like a cheese grater kind of effect. Then the seat cover was just sitting on the springs, and the cushion was underneath the springs, in between the springs and the floorboard of the car.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize that burlap actually is like a more of a support. It kind of ties all the springs together, and without it, because there's also a layer that has little metal wires that connect all the springs together. Once all that gets worn out, it's basically junk. But the springs are still fine, like you said, so that's good.
That's going to be great to sit on it and see over the dash even. Thought sitting on a phone book. Or a pillow. I did for a while. I keep a pillow in there just to sit on so I can see.
That way you could have either a full-on race bucket or, put the pillow in there and have a normal seat there. So it was multifunctional.
Yeah. The push bar. So I have push bar WC01. Are you making push bars for sale? The narrow push bar.
They will be. I've got to get all that together. I don't know how I want to do it, if I want to set up my website and do a Shopify thing or something like that through it, or I'm just going to take emails and build them as we go. It's completely welded up, like I said, and the jig, I made a jig off of it so I can pretty much mass produce them from there on out.
Cool.
But yeah, you've got 01. You've got the first one of the second version, I guess we'll say.
Yeah. He's not fooling. He really stamped it, and he sent me a picture of it, and it's stamped. The coolest thing, I'm sure somebody has done this before, but it is the second attempt. It has the kind of the lean forward look, and it only makes sense when you see it, but when you look at it from the side, the back plane of the push bar that's closest to the front end of the car is not vertical up and down. It's actually kind of tipped forward a little bit, bottom to top. The top is more tipped forward than the bottom. It's just the craziest thing. That one little change makes it look so different, but it looks very different. And if you're totally nerding out and you want an early car like I want, it really finishes it out. It's pretty cool. It looks a lot like the Toyota push bar that we've seen out there so many times.
Yeah, just that little tweak to the first one. I think like we added like a 1/4 inch here and like maybe 5/8 there. Moved the lower bar up, I think a 1/2 inch or an inch. It's a very subtle change, but I mean, it was like a night and day difference. It came into its own. That nailed it right there.
The power antenna, I think we talked about last time, but you painted it. You painted every bit of it, like the surround, the gasket, if it's got one. You painted the tip of the antenna. When the antenna is down, it's just totally buried. It's just orange. It's all orange. And it looks just like those early cars. Those little details just make the best stuff. Oh, the wiper motor. You're going to fabricate the cover that goes over the firewall. When I came down to drop the car off, we were looking at this, and that was one of the questions you had. You said, why does that firewall cover in your photos that we're looking at, why is it so large? Because the wiper motor you have there is not that large. And I had no idea. Well, the wiper motor I got on the car is a 3-speed wiper motor, it turns out. But the Hero car had a 2-speed wiper motor, and it's just totally configured differently. And that was why. So I think we're going to stick a 2-speed wiper motor in it.
We are.
I think we are, yeah.
Actually, I forgot to go get it. Now that if you hadn't just now mentioned it, with the whole
setup, yes,
and everything else that went on, that completely left my mind that I was supposed to go by the parts store today, actually, and pick that up. So, yeah, I'll go back in the morning and grab that, and we can put that on, too.
The little bracket that bolts on the end of it, make sure that you change it, too. It's different. 2-speed to 3-speed.
The one that
Okay,
hooks
now
to
the
the wipers?
bracket.
It's like a little S bracket that bolts onto the end of the motor and goes and connects to the linkage. It's different.
Right.
2-speed and 3-speed are different. I may have one.
We may have to get one of those then, because I don't know if this one will come with that.
I don't think they do.
That's one of those. So we'll probably have to get one of those.
I may have one, and then I'll print up an order from stamps.com and send it to you.
That's a damn good idea right there. You can smell the savings from here. Stamps.com, promo code KAFS. Remember, that's a 1-month deal that you can get right there. Nathan, I've been telling my friends here, when I call you, we talk a long time. And rarely does the conversation start on the topic and end on the same topic. Can you please introduce them to the Sasquatch dilemma that you tried to explain to me once? I tried to give it here, and it doesn't sound as funny when I say it. But
now, are you talking about Sasquatch on the roof of a house, or
if you hadn't convinced the guy that Sasquatch's alien brethren?
Gotcha.
No. And you maybe want to tell people what you used to do for a living? I don't know.
All right. This is not my story. This is his story, and I just happen to be blessed with being a part of it and getting to hear it.
Uh-huh.
So before I opened the body shop, I was an insurance adjuster, independent insurance adjuster. Looked at roofs on whatever damage they had to the house, and this particular event took place in I think I was in Birmingham, Alabama, when this took place. Talked to the lady, the owner of the house, and I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and get on the roof. And she's like, well, I've got a contractor coming. And that's always one of those, oh, great, a contractor. Because you never know if you're going to get a really good contractor or if you're just going to get somebody that went down and paid $15 and got a contractor's license and decided they were going to fix houses.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the roof. And I will give you a vivid description because I remember this fella perfectly. And he pulls up. He's in a Dodge pickup, nice new model pickup, He gets out, and he's pretty well dressed. He's got on jeans and a canary yellow polo shirt. I don't know how old he is. He's not a real old man. But he's completely white-headed, and he's got that Sopranos look about him. His hair slicked back, and he's got the little, probably like a 6-inch ponytail, and a solid white goatee. And he's average build, but he's got a little pot belly sticking out to the point that his shirt just barely will tuck into his britches. And he reminded me a lot of my stepfather I had one time. But anyhow, that's a whole different story, too. So he comes out, and he comes up on the roof with me.
Are you sure it wasn't your stepfather?
No,
sure it wasn't Colonel Sanders.
This would be, you got the Colonel Sanders thing, but if Colonel Sanders was a biker and had his hair slicked back and a ponytail, that would be, and a goatee. This fellow was full-blooded Northerner, and he had the Northern accent, just like I've got the deep Southern accent. That hit it off perfect right there because kind of like on Sling Blade, I like the way you talk, and he liked the way I talk. So
yeah,
we're talking about the roof of the house here. Everything's going great. No arguments, it's cut and dry. And I don't know how this came about. How do you get into a conversation about Bigfoot? He referred to him as Bigfoot. I refer to him as Sasquatch.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel that that's more of a respectful term for the creature.
Sure.
But anyhow,
you don't want to hurt his feelings.
I tell you what, in all of my insurance adjusting, that was my thing. I met all kinds of people, everything from having to walk in a house backwards because of a lady's, I guess, religious belief, to the lady that had her mama in the closet, to the haunted
dead
office building. I mean, just everything. I've never got to talk to anybody that had been abducted by aliens. That's still my dream. But back to Bigfoot.
Remember when I said about the hour conversation? They always go somewhere.
You started this now, so
yes. So Yankee white-headed potbelly man,
Colonel Sanders.
Yeah.
Colonel Sanders.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Somehow or another, Bigfoot comes up. I think he was actually telling me about his website. I'm pretty certain this is how it all started. He was starting a website. His dream was to go up north, was Virginia, wherever it was that he felt was the best place to hunt for one. And he was going to go up there, and his whole deal was he was going to start this website and get all of these hunters up. And they were going to go up there, and he was going to kill a Bigfoot, and he was going to strap it on the hood of his car and come through town and show everybody that there was such a thing as a Bigfoot. So through this conversation, I'm like, well, have you ever seen a Bigfoot Sasquatch? And he was like, well, as a matter of fact, I have. And he goes into telling as a child, his dad gave him a gun. He went out in the woods hunting or whatever, and this is his tale. And he was like, I'm, a kid running around in the woods, and I got my gun. He goes, and I see this tree. He goes, and I knew the woods perfectly in that area. He said, I'd never noticed this tree before. He said, and I get to looking at this tree, and this tree is looking back at me. And I'm like, well, what was it doing? Just standing there looking at you? He was like, no, actually, he goes, it was standing, and it had one arm propped up against the tree, and the other one kind of, I think, was crossed over his chest or maybe on his side. It wasn't propped up on his hip, because that was the first thing I asked. I was like, you're like propped on a tree and one arm on his hip? And he's like, no. But he did have one arm propped up on a tree, and he was standing there looking at me. And he said he was covered in like moss looking, kind of gave a swamp thing description to me is the only thing I would say. But
really too
I
many
was
comic
like,
books.
well, what did he do? And he's like, well, I don't know. He said, I dropped my gun and I run. He said, I run back to the house, and he's like, his brothers made fun of him, and they went back out there and got the gun and never seen no Bigfoot or anything like that. I'm like, well, did they find tracks? And he's like, well, I'll get to that part later. He's hooked me. I want to know everything he knows about the Bigfoot. It was quite intriguing to me. And all of this is taking place, two dudes standing on the roof of a house talking about Bigfoot. Yeah, I'm like, well, what do you think a Bigfoot is? I mean, is this, what is this? He said, I'm pretty certain you're like me. You live out in the woods. He goes, when something happens, he goes, you're going to go out to the woods. And he's like, that's what the whole population is going to do. Leave the cities and go out to, live in the wilderness. I said, well, what is a Bigfoot, though? He goes, well, he said, I think they're aliens. And it was all I could do not to bust up. I'm like, really? They're aliens? And he's like, yeah. I think they're aliens, and they're just biding their time, waiting to come down and do whatever it is they've got planned to do. And when we run into the woods and flee into the woods, they've already got everything set up in there, and that's when they're going to get us.
It's a trap. It's right out of Star Wars, man. It's a trap.
I was like, okay. I was like, so Bigfoot's an alien. He's like, yep. Don't you think it's going to piss them off if we kill one of them and like throw one of their brothers on the hood of a truck and run through town bragging about it? He's like, well, that's a good point. I can't remember what his reply was, but I think he really didn't care. He was pretty well set. He was going to kill a Bigfoot. And so anyways, why are they in the woods? And he's like, well, that's the whole thing. He goes back to the whole, going to attack. And he didn't really have an idea of why they were going to attack. But his kicker, the whole thing of the whole story, I'm really drawn in by this. He's got my full attention. By then, we're on a first-name basis. And he looks at me right in the eye. And he says, you know what, Nathan? He said, you know why you never hear about a Bigfoot sighting in the desert? He said, even here in Alabama, he goes, occasionally you'll hear of a Bigfoot. He said, but most of the time they're up north and out in really heavily wooded areas. And I was like, I don't know. I've never heard of a sighting in Nevada or, hey, we've seen a Bigfoot running across the desert. And I was like, well, why have we not heard of a big... He's like, with his Yankee accent, he's like, because there ain't no effing water in the desert, Nathan. And I was like, well, you've got a wonderful point. He's like, they got to have water. So that's the safest place to go, he determined, would be the desert whenever the Sasquatch...
Alien invasion.
Annihilation. So, alien invasion.
Because of the murder of their fallen Bigfoot alien brother.
Comrade, or yeah.
Did he do the roof? Do you know who got the job?
I guess he got the job. I have no idea. I never talked to him again after that. I did. At that time, I had it wrote down. They gave me the name of the website. I looked for it a couple of times, never could find it.
That's good.
He went on to tell that his wife was Oriental and that she was a bookie, and he was asking me about Tunica, if I'd ever been to Tunica, because he envisioned Tunica was like Las Vegas. He had never been there. He was going to take his wife down there to Tunica. At that time, I was like, what I know of it is not. It's like all fields and then just a couple of casinos floating on the water. But anywho, they were going to go down there and clean up. I can only hope that they hit the jackpot and didn't worry about Sasquatches no more.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. They better be careful. There's water in Las Vegas.
There is water in Las Vegas. And there's booze.
But there's no Sasquatches.
Bernie, do you remember the news thing that you did where it said the most corrupt counties, top 5 most corrupt counties? Tunica was one of them.
That's right. It sure was.
Very good.
You know, I've heard this whole story before. I've heard it in a Disney movie, the Disney movie Up. Remember that? Where they go out and they hunt the strange animal and it lives in the woods and he's got to capture it and bring it back to prove that it exists.
Oh, yeah, but that's real. It really does exist in the movie. Anyway, Nathan, that was the story that I could not pass on to others, and I think we will edit the bejesus out of to keep people coming to your business.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on, and thank you for building my dream car. And what is the best way for people to reach you if they would like help doing that themselves?
WarrenCustoms.com. That's the best thing, and all of our information is on there, and social media sites and all of that stuff. So if you can just go to WarrenCustoms.com, and my number will be on there, and you can give us a call or set up an appointment or whatever you need to do.
Well, you have a good evening, and I will talk to you soon, and I'll probably see you in a few weeks as well, which I look forward to.
No doubt.
I was wondering how you felt about a last-minute request on the General Lee.
I'm open to it. What you got?
Rob was talking to us earlier, and he has a secret desire, and I think you can pull this off. And if you can't, we'll just let Corndog finish it. Rob, has always wanted kind of like a mural on a car. And we thought if it's not too much trouble, if you could mural in kind of in a ghost flame type way, either on the hood or the trunk, a ghosted in image of Catherine Bach, I think that would seal the deal for him.
25-year-old Catherine Bach.
Oh, yeah. Now, do you want her in, like, the naked lady pose, like you'd see on a trucker's mud flap kind of thing?
He likes the red bikini scene.
The red bikini to start with.
Scene,
and then
or without the suitcase.
I think with the suitcase, but you kind of go back and forth if it's a ghost flame, and then it does that flip-flop paint stuff, so that if you turn left, it's this way. Yeah.
If you want to do that, man, we go under the trunk lid, because we've gone to a lot of trouble here to make a season 2. I mean, it just wasn't on there. What I would like, though, is the Kawasaki photo. You know that one? That might be a reach.
Leather pants.
I will have to Google that one. I don't know that one.
It's worth it.
Right. I'm getting out my airbrush right now, and
Sweet.
We're putting it on the trunk, on the outside, where everyone can admire it.
I'm sure you'll get more business.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, Nathan. I'll see you later.
All right, see y'all guys.
Yep. See?
Yeah, that would be more season 1 correct. The red bikini.
Well, yeah, but they never put it on the car. Look up the Kawasaki one, and it's a photo. It's not a photo. I saw it like a stand-up figure once.
Magazine advertisement, and I think they had a poster, and then, like you said, they had like a cardboard cutout too. I think she's got like a fire suit or something.
Yes, and that is plenty for this show. So, fellas, thank you as always. Everybody, thank you for listening. You can find us on Instagram at Kibbe and Friends Show. You can find us on Patreon at patreon.com/KF Show. And you can support us by supporting today's advertisers, Stamps.com, using the promo code KAFS when you check out. Be like Corndog. Save money moving parts. Bernie, is there anything else we need to cover today? We have covered a lot.
Just thank you for helping us be internet phenomenons. That's all. And watch out for Sasquatch.
And the crazy monkey right there.
Yeah, that's good. All right, fellas, I'm going to bed. I will see you all later. Bye-bye. Bye.
I gave my word to the U.S. of A. federal government when they gave these boys probation that I'd never have nothing to do with running no shine or even making it no more.
The deal's off, Hog. What? I ain't giving you no $10,000 for that slop you call shine. Now, Jesse Duke, he made a shine that was nectar to the lip.
Oh,
Smooth as molasses going down.
Yeah, but molasses going down.
We should have looked up old Jesse in the first place.
But it wouldn't do you no good on account of Jesse's out of the shine business permanently.
Yeah, permanently.
On the other hand, I don't think I'd have any trouble whatsoever in getting that recipe off of Jesse.
You'd have trouble, I think.
No, I said you... That's why it's where it is. I was sworn I had the recipe in here.
It's horse liniment, you dodo!
Are you sure?
You brought me Jesse's recipe for horse liniment!
Well, boss, I didn't know it was horse liniment. I mean, after all, this was the only thing in his secret little tin that had writing on it. I just naturally thought...
Oh, that's your trouble. You never do think naturally.
Oh.
All right. Now, this means just one thing.
What?
Jesse never put his recipe on the paper.
No. Well, where is it?
It's in his head.
Oh. Well, how are we going to get it out of there, you know? He ain't just going to tell us.
No. But he might, if we made a deal with him.
What kind of deal?
Well, that recipe in exchange for dropping all charges against his boy.
Oh, drop all the charges against him. We don't have any charges against his boys. In fact, see, boys, listen. No, it's a good idea, but I don't think it'll work. See, I've used all the charges I could possibly think of with the Duke boys, short of them stealing the orphans' funds or something.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, thank you.
No, thank you.
Oh,
that's it. That's the charges.
What?
Yeah, the Duke boys are going to rob the orphanage fund. Oh. This is Shepard. Can you hear me now?
Loud and clear, Uncle Jesse.
Luke explained about the confession they got from Rayford Flicker and how they were framed by old boss. And there wasn't no need for old Jesse to make that shine ever.
That's why I never did run no shine. What I ran was a few jugs of, well, pretty top-grade mouthwash.
Friends, I never doubted that for 1 minute.
It'll leave a bad taste in Boss's mouth.
Boss had to give Jasper Fenwick his money back. And Jasper and Eli give Boss something, too. Roscoe, of course, he got his usual cut.
There, he's got...
Uncle Jesse be ashamed to waste this.
And so Uncle Jesse's word of honor to the government was still intact. He never did make any shine. And he never will. That is, except for medical purposes. Bottoms up, Uncle Jesse.
You